Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Unconventional Therapist. My name is Dave. I'm joined here with my co host, Greg. Greg, what's going on, man?
Dave, it's good to be back. I'm nervous. I feel like I've never done this before. But let's try to jump right back in and maybe people can give us some grace because this is our first episode back in a few weeks. And I feel, as they say, green. I never
Feel
understood.
green?
Yeah, oh, I guess it is so like a green horn or a green something green is it's like new. You
Green
ever-
thumb.
Well, I think
I
that's
think
off.
I think
Off.
that's right.
I
I
don't think
think
you're getting
that's
there.
right. I
I
think
think
it's
you're missing the
correct.
metaphor. When the metaphors are off, we need some time to kind of get back.
Sure.
Just
Yeah.
like anything else. Dave,
Yes.
this topic is something that I've actually been interested in since I was a kid. When I was a kid, people in the neighborhood, and we're talking like the suburbs of Warwick, used to say things like, "My cousin's a Crip." I'm in the Bloods, Latin Kings, a lot of this stuff. Like people would in sixth, seventh grade, talk quite a bit about gang affiliation. It was around the time The Chronic came out, and I think people were, really, really choosing sides back then. Judging by like your music, there was some, uh, I'm calling them bands like Dr. Dre and Snoop. I think those were.
Bands?
Well,
What?
do you want me to say rap group? Because that makes me sound even
Rap
older.
group? They're singular artists, the people you just mentioned.
Artists,
Well,
rap, hip hop nation.
artists, that's fine.
Artists, yeah. So they would talk about, or represent wearing various colors and
Yeah.
I just felt like that culture was really cool. And I don't know why, but I did. And as I'm reading this book, Iron John, which is a slog, I thought it'd be really cool because it's got this Joseph Campbell type premise where, you know, we learn how to be human through stories, ancient stories, and it talks a lot about how, you know, there was this throughout, most of human history, young men and women were separated from their parents like before adolescence, 12, 13 years old, and raised by other females or other males so they could get this like more broad sort of definition of what it is to be a man, what it is to be a woman. And, this separation from their parents, helped them transition to being, a fleshed out adult like themselves without, with some autonomy. They had to be taken from the nest and thrown into a world that they're uncomfortable with so that they could grow, right? And this is sort of this would have been common knowledge for millennia, like thousands and thousands of
Yeah.
years. And so like this boy or this girl being, you know, around elders and different men to learn like different roles and different, because there's all kinds of men, all kinds of women. What I think gangs is when this idea gets perverted, when there's like this need for guidance, direction that we're not getting from home, and you get this kind of like acceptance and I don't know, there's like a glorified sense of belonging and power that comes with being a gang that I think is very sort of attractive to younger people.
I
What do
love what that part where you just said how surprised you were about the book that you just started reading being a slog in your terms, and then you went on to describe the world's most boring plot synopsis ever. I think you're the only one who was surprised that that was a slog, quote unquote.
Yeah. Well, it can, the idea is
Well, you
useful.
see, what happens is adolescents go out in the real world and then they have to become
I know.
autonomous.
I know.
Wow.
I
Cool.
know. But like, isn't that what, well, Dave, like growing up, what was your take on gangs?
Of course, we romanticized them and fantasized about being them because it was so different than what you and I's actual upbringing looked like. And, growing up in areas that were complete opposite of what, that idea was that we would see on TV and movies and music. I think it was so different that it made us curious and made us feel like
Like,
that was something that we would want to be in. And then, you get into adult world and you actually, have the ability to go in some of those areas, and you decide you want to do everything but that because you realize it is not that romanticized and
No.
glorified thing that you thought
You
it
want to
would be.
roll in your 6'4" right the hell out of there,
Yes.
right? I mean, it gets
With all
tough.
the homies saying,
That's right.
yeah,
That's a little let me ride, and I'm glad you caught on to that. Not a lot of the listeners, depending on the demographic there. So, Dave, there's some prominent modern American gang.
really?
Yeah, and I think it'd be fun if you started to kind of like take us through some of these
I
things.
would love to, but I'm going to go ahead and let you do the honors here.
You are?
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you
Well,
got? What do you got?
I got a MS-13,
Okay.
highly violent transitional gang founded in Los Angeles. This is the one that you kind of hear a lot about. Strong ties to Central America. They're mostly working with like extortion, drug trafficking, and human smuggling. Hmm. You know that?
Okay. Uh, no. So, all right. Here's my question though. Why?
Did I
Why
see? I don't
why
know.
does the MS-13 want to do these things?
I don't know. I think it's I think it's to make money
Oh,
ultimately. I think that's basically what all of this comes down to. Lack of resources, um, social inequity, and I don't know, doing what it feels good instead of what is good, like the
mhm.
easy way, I guess, in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Um, it's something definitely we've all heard of is the Bloods and Crips.
Yes.
These
I
are,
I know how to spell that with my fingers
you do?
in a, with both hands. Have you ever
Yes,
seen that? Bloods when people do
yeah,
that.
I have seen that.
And then realize like that's embarrassing and don't ever do that in public, you
So you
know?
know how to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. That's actually a fun fact about Dave. Um, obviously, another Los Angeles gang, rival African American gangs involved in a lot of street level drug stuff, drug distribution, I guess you would say. Um,
Often known for their like colors, right? So you got, the handkerchiefs, the blue handkerchiefs or the red handkerchiefs or
yeah.
whatever identifying clothing item they happen to be wearing, and all the lore that goes in with that. And I mean, you still see that in movies and TV today, and I'm sure that they're still very prominent today. But um, do you think the do you think people's references to gangs has decreased? Like, I feel like people don't, I mean, and I don't want to base an opinion on a feeling, but
Yeah.
it seems to me like people don't talk about gangs as much.
It's a good question. It kind of feels like the 90s when we were coming up was a more I mean, if you go back to the episode of Woodstock 99, it was just kind of a more violent, charged time, it
Mm.
felt like, right? I mean, I
I
think
mean, we
that
got that. Remember our Satanic Panic episode? We talked about someone blaming like Tupac's album for murders he committed. And then you have um, the censorship episode we did about hip hop and stuff like that. So I mean, yeah, that was all kind of like 80s, 90s, um, pretty heavy on this stuff
yeah,
during
like
that
bubbling
time.
over. I mean, and we're not youth right now, so maybe they are. But it just seems like you're right. It just seems like this is a less violent, more
Kids are growing up like wanting to be in like anime gangs,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah, they're like, can I have start a gang from my basement?
What gang wears foxtails?
Yeah, yeah, that's yeah, things have certainly changed. The Mexican Mafia, I know I've heard of that. This is prison-based though, organized crime. This isn't the
Ooh.
cartel. It controls a vast majority of Hispanic street gangs, and they're mostly in the American Southwest within the penal system though. Gangster Disciples, have you ever heard of this?
No.
So I have. This is a Chicago thing, a large,
Ooh.
highly structured and multi-state street drug trafficking organization founded in Chicago.
I
Um,
I never actually heard of a gang based out of Chicago. That's interesting to me.
well, here's two. I mean, Chicago's, has a storied
Oh, the
history.
Latin Kings were based out of Chicago?
Yes, they were.
Oh.
Yeah, large Hispanic street gang. But it started in Chicago, turf all over the United States. Here's one, 18th Street gang. You would think that would be pretty pretty localized. But I mean, if you're on 17th and you're on 19th Street, you're okay. But if you cross over, I mean, you got to find a way around.
Stay away from 18th.
That's a multi-ethnic transitional gang. Again,
Oh,
Los
so
Angeles.
even guys like me and you have a chance.
We could. They're open to taking all
Like,
applications.
we got a chance, Greg.
Only on 18th Street.
Yeah.
That's where you'll find
Oh, I spoke
that's where
too
my
soon.
application's in. Oh boy. Yeah. So here's one.
Oh boy.
I mean, um I'll just say here's one. The Aryan Brotherhood and Aryan Circle, we all know what this is. Prominent, violent, white supremacist, neo-Nazi guys. Pri I think typically in prison, but have power, in the streets, of course.
Yeah, I mean, and they're known for, being pretty violent, but also pretty heavy in like charity work. I'm
Are you
just
sure
kidding.
about that?
Oh, that's not part of their
Blind charity.
reputation.
Yeah, that's a different gang.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Outlaws, the outlaw motorcycle gangs. You know, that's going to comprise of a few different. One we've definitely heard of, Hell's Angels, the
I know.
Bandidos.
Yeah, I've heard of the Banditos.
Have you? How about the
Yeah.
Vagos?
Um, no.
We even have a Rhode Island chapter of, which is funny. I actually got a quick little thing about that. There's a Rhode Island chapter of the Hells Angels, and I was thinking to
Yeah.
myself, who would be afraid of these guys? And I saw one.
I feel like I've heard of people that are part of.
Monsters.
Yeah.
I saw this guy at the gym, yeah, like just tattoos all over his
Yeah.
skull, and he was massive.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember. I know somebody that's part of it. I'm trying to remember who
It's
it
more your
is.
area. It's down your way.
Yeah.
Like Cumberland, Woonsocket. No. Be careful, Dave. All right, Dave, here's a cool part for you. This is something that I've always kind of found interesting too. One of them is in the urban legends thing, but I don't think it's an actual gang initiation ritual. But you remember when we talked about people driving down the streets with no headlights, and if
Yeah.
you pick the headlights, they're gonna murder you. So why
I
don't you
told
talk
you
about
I told you I got headlights flashed at me once when I was in Mississippi.
were your headlights on?
No, no, no. I was walking. They did it.
What do you suppose that means?
They were gonna murder my ass.
They just
I,
letting you
I
know.
got in the car. I was like, I'm out of here.
Yeah, bye. That's you think that's what it means? They're gonna murder your ass? Maybe they're like, don't walk around here.
No,
There's murderers.
no, I did not. I did. I stuck out like a sore thumb, if you know what I mean.
You were you on 17th Street?
I was closing in on 18th, and
That's the problem.
yeah,
Warning. That was your warning shot.
I said,
Um,
"Hey, you flashed your high beams at me, my sir,
good
my
sir,
eyes."
please. I think there's been some kind of mistake.
Good
Uh,
lord.
all right, Dave, take us through the initiation rituals. I think these are cool.
Oh, okay. So with the M13, you got to get
MS.
jumped in, and everyone knows what that means. To the gang jumpings,
Yeah, what is
right?
it?
Just just going ham on you. They
Yeah.
just put you in the middle, and everybody just wails.
Yeah, I'm already out. Not even joking.
This is like the thing that I like when we were younger, everyone used to talk about. And
Yeah.
that was like the reason why I was like, I don't want to do
But
that.
they
I don't
would
want to do a
do
gang.
it. Like I don't know if you had a similar situation like Warwick Neck Elementary School, but people would sort of jump in gangs, but like obviously it was very different. It wasn't very aggressive.
This this is a horrible episode. It's just us talking about how dumb our lives were.
I know. Well, you know what? It's the first one back in.
Oh boy. They also frequently require to get wet, meaning they must carry out a specific violent crime, such as a targeted assault or murder.
Mm,
I think that happened in GTA San Andreas. You had to do that, if I
probably.
remember correctly. So in American street gangs, such as the Bloods and the Crips, the initiates may endure physical trials, um, such as a group beating, getting jumped in, I guess, or perform missions, and those would require committing a series of crimes similar to what I just mentioned, um, but maybe robberies, assaults, or drive-by shootings, things like that. So basically, the idea, I guess, is just they're either going to beat you up or they're going to make you commit crimes so they have leverage on you. I mean, that's essentially the gist there.
Kind of brilliant.
With the mafia, there might be like an induction ceremony that often requires the initiate to prick their finger, spill blood onto a holy card that is burned in their hands, and swear oaths of loyalty under threats of death.
Yeah, I saw that in Sopranos. You hold a picture of the saint.
Yeah. The Asian triads. their rituals might include stepping over a sword while reciting specific vows or paying symbolic fees to the big brother as an oath of total allegiance to the brotherhood. So I feel like, Asian tribes and like the mafia are kind of similar in like it's more ritualistic in it's
Very cool.
ceremonial, I should say, actually, is what
Which
that's what
is
I meant to
very
say.
cool. Like picturing like yeah, it's like a commitment.
It's like becoming a Freemason,
And the
just
ritual is
just with
important.
more crime.
Yeah, yeah. Stepping over a sword is kind of cool. And like
Yeah.
burning the Saint car, like how does that start? Very cool. Yeah,
So for female gang members, Greg wanted to let everyone know that they have to get sexed in.
it's true.
And in some male dominated groups, female initiates are subjected to brutal rites known as sexting in, where they are forced to submit to sexual acts with multiple male gang members to reinforce their subjugation to the group, thus ensuring that most of gangs are huge sausage fests.
Yeah, because everyone's like, nah, I think I'm good.
I'm okay, actually.
Yeah. And so like it's like but what would be really sad is like there's probably women
Oh,
who
100%.
want to feel like they're part of something, want to like
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
which is
100%.
like terrible, right? Um and they have to be sexed in. Oh God. Um all right, so listen, the like of these gangs, we're just gonna kind of talk about um actually just go through real quick which are the most prominent. I mean, MS-13 is the most prominent gang, and it's, known for its most ruthless gang in the country.
So, all right, I got to ask a question. Have you heard about MS-13 like around here or
Yes.
online trying to connect with minors and youth?
Well, so yeah, no, so I thought you were just gonna leave it of have I heard of them around here? And actually, yes. When I was in Providence delivering the mail, maybe like 15 years ago or so, I delivered a house and it said MS-13 on the side in big spray paint, and there was like pit bulls outside and everything like that. And they were telling the pit bulls to kill me. And no, but I look, they are. It's a real issue in regard to human smuggling. I mean, they've picked up 15-year-olds, 14-year-olds, 13-year-old girls. I mean, all over the country. There's a problem here in Providence. There's a problem like in, Massachusetts, and then, across the country. But that's like right in our backyard. It happens. Whenever you see like those Amber Alerts and there's like a 14-year-old girl missing, it's like, I mean, this is a possibility, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I had a mom of a patient of mine seems very concerned that or if her daughter is online on social media, she might be actually like messaging MS-13 members. And I was like, I have literally heard nothing about
Like
this,
on
but
purpose?
like they'd be doing the whole catfishing,
Ah,
luring, grooming type thing. And I'm like,
yeah.
I don't know. I never heard of this. I did hear about creeps on Roblox, but I don't know about MS-13 on Instagram.
So these
So
gangs, they adapt, right? Just like, I mean, to survive, you have to adapt. And if a gang's been around for a while, and the sort of like the mafia, for example, the way it used to exist doesn't exist anymore. So they get into like, you know, more blue collar stuff. MS-13 is probably the same way. There's probably a ton of money in human smuggling. We see, these rich psychos are very much into it. Um, I'm more into the gangs that aren't into that shit, like the 18th Street Gang, which is actually on the list of some of the most prominent gangs. In third, um, and second, we had the Aryan Brotherhood, who surprisingly has a pretty strong, seemingly hand of influence outside of the prison system. Murder for hire, racketeering, meth, heroin, cocaine. I thought that was really just they had a presence inside the prisons, but I guess it's kind of everywhere. Um,
interesting. No, well, I mean, I hate when my references are like movies, but you think about like American History X and things like that, and that stuff exists out out there somewhere. Like in our area, we live in a bubble in New England. I feel like things like this exist here, but are probably hidden. I'm sure in other places outside of New England, where I don't know attitudes towards race and how people handle those things are more out in the open. I'm sure this stuff exists in a way more prominent way. I feel like
absolutely.
in our area, it's like things aren't as out there.
I think everything's just smaller where we are, right? It's like when we have such a small, like, so the street gangs in, Los Angeles, Bloods and Crips. I mean, there's just a lot more people, money, more people doing drugs for whatever reasons because the cities are bigger. I mean, there's plenty of people doing drugs in Providence, but it's just small. Um, and these are areas in the country where like Chicago and Los Angeles where there's like gun violence daily. I mean, it's I don't know, it's just really sad
Yeah,
and wild.
agreed.
So, sorry, I lost my little plug here, fellow. Um, yeah. So let's see. What else do we need to get in here? Let's talk a little bit about the reasons why people join gangs. And Dave, I'll let you kind of get started here.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about gangs, you think of, I mean, it's right there in the title of some of them. Like it's a brotherhood or it's a family. And you think about some of the areas where gang presence might be a little bit higher. That's probably areas where maybe there's low income, maybe single parent housing kind of situations where, someone might be looking for a figure in their life. And gangs sometimes end up praying, I guess. I don't know if that's the right way to look at it, but definitely kind of appealing to those who are looking for some sort of like mentorship or connection to, like father figures, things like that, brother figures, whatever it is. It tends to feel like those are those are the bonds that kind of create gangs in some way or just sustain them, I think. And I think that has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, so like the need for belonging and connection.
Mhm.
Um, you know, Maslow, hierarchy of needs. We have fundamental desire to feel accepted, loved, and connected to a group. So this does provide a sort of surrogate family. Um, like you said, these are people from unstable, neglectful homes, and they view a gang as a family that offers what appears to be unconditional acceptance, and people really enjoy that. They enjoy the social shelter. They enjoy well, the youth who feel rejected by the mainstream and their lack of potential opportunities for future, um, they turn to gangs for
Yeah.
companionship, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess another reason could be identity and status seeking. So, kind of trying to figure out who they are. And I think a lot of that might have to do with also back to that idea of like kind of where you are, like environment wise. So if you're in an area that maybe has a lot of gang presence and there's kind of like this idea of um if it's a young man, it's like this idea of like what masculinity is and things like that. They might also, again, kind of like find that false masculinity within the idea of like gang members and how they hold themselves, I think. And you can see how that might kind of be attractive to someone who maybe doesn't know who they are or is trying to establish themselves, trying to present as masculine, try to present as tough in an area that might seem scary
Hmm.
or where like violence is present. So you can kind of see how that that might kind of cause someone to gravitate towards something like that. And also being within the gang, there's this idea of like respect, right? And rankings and worth and things like that. And I guess there's something to be said to be able to walk down a street and have people literally afraid of you.
Yeah, yeah, like and almost like wearing a uniform.
Yeah. I was thinking about it. I mean, we were kind of joking about our upbringing versus individuals who maybe are growing up in areas where gang presence is actually a reality. But then I think about like all those suburban kids who do get involved in like, I'm gonna say like quote unquote gang or like,
Like
you know,
ISIS, remember that whole thing?
oh
Maybe they
yeah, yeah. But I was thinking even more just like, those like rich kids that end up doing dumb stuff and like kind of end up finding a group of other kids that end up doing dumb stuff and they're kind of like these pseudo little cliques of gangs. I mean, but that's kind of it. They're also seeking identity and status, it just in a different way.
Like, yeah, because sometimes when you come from a really rich family, like the amount of achievement you have to complete is like staggering, right? And it's like, how do I compete with my rich ass parents who
Yeah.
accomplished all this?
Or you reject the your upbringing. You reject, like, why did we gravitate towards, thinking, romanticizing gang life and having interest in that? Sure, we didn't like choose to pursue it, but like we had interest in it. I mean, I was like really into it for a period of time in my youth, like just like within the music I was listening to, like everything that I was kind of like surrounding myself with. I found it absolutely fascinating, and it's so foreign to us. But like, I think that's a big part of it. It's like you romanticize it, so you almost want to
Mhm.
pursue it. And I guess some kids actually go through with that.
Yeah, and not to, I mean, just to make it clear, we were certainly not rich.
No.
Um, but Dave, you do bring up a good point. Like there is an element of, you've got the people in difficult sort of neighborhoods, and that sort of creates this, chronic fear and hypervigilance. So a gang can offer some safety and protection, right? Obviously, safety in numbers. We all know that. Yeah, it's just something that's pretty obvious. Gangs satisfy basic physical survival needs, and serve as protection in difficult neighborhoods. Like you kind of, in a lot of ways, people are forced into these things. Um, and it's paradoxical security because even though, you're in a gang and you should be safe, this is obviously going to increase the amount of violence you're around. But like it's got this weird like psychological effect. Like you have someone's got your back, um, and that sort of, I don't know, it gives you a sense of control when you would probably feel completely out of control.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, and then another reason, I guess, could be coping with trauma and mental health issues. So a lot of the gang members, they carry a lot of deep and untreated psychological wounds, maybe from childhood experiences, whether that's physical or sexual or emotional abuse, self-medication, struggling with like undiagnosed depression, anxiety, PTSD, and kind of using um, gangs as an escape mechanism, to deal with their internal pain. Maybe it's personality traits, having low empathy, low emotional intelligence, traits of antisocial personality disorder. Those things could all increase the likelihood of joining a gang. I mean, you would think kind of the opposite with some of the personality traits, like that might cause them to want to be more individual, but I guess there's some that would gravitate towards others who are risk takers and violent and things like that.
Yeah, you kind of get a license to be a bad boy or girl.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, yeah, and then there's just the same, like one of the reasons why I think Salem witch trials happened is boredom, right? This is over time, it kind of can appear like this is an avenue for like we talk about glorification. We're talking about how we were exposed to these gangs, and it's through entertainment. So maybe there's some allure that's appealing in that way. Also, you know, the criminologists use the term edge work, and it describes this rush that people get when they're doing things that are dangerous. And there's also this sense of escapism where you can have some relief from reality, which is oftentimes, a low socioeconomic status, and feel as though like you've got a piece of the pie, right? Like you've
Mhm.
got some money, you can do things, it gives you some freedom. Um, it's like a perceived success. And what's so perceived about it when in a lot of ways this would be a lot the only way for people to become successful and have access to these things like nice cars and clothes and
Sure.
whatever. And that's a societal issue that if there's ever a real war on gangs, it needs to be from the viewpoint of making things more accessible to all, in
Yeah,
you know in my opinion,
sure.
a pathway to these things legitimately. um Because how can you hate on someone who's just trying to make the best life for themselves in the only way possible for them? It becomes a kind of a complicated issue.
And I would imagine in some cases too, it probably feels to be like a necessity to join.
Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely.
It's like, what's the other option?
Great. Yeah. What's the alternative? I can join this gang, or I can freaking roll the dice and maybe be one of the like really low numbers of people who are going to make it out of this situation. I mean, the chips are stacked against you when maybe you're in a low income home, you never see your mother, the schools are shit. Um, everyone, has an idea of everyone kind of like looks at you like as if you're in a gang, and it's just like kind of like a really tough situation. I is it still like that? I think it's better, but certainly not perfect. Because it was real
You're
bad in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah. When you say it's better, where's your what research did you do?
So,
So,
anecdotal,
oh yeah,
anecdotal
from your time
from
in
my time,
Compton.
from my time in the streets of Providence,
Okay,
and noticing,
in
you know,
Providence,
yeah, well, yeah, in Providence. I mean, I'm using that's my barometer. I mean, from
not Compton.
not Compton, no, but from the times. Well, I mean, gentrification, it's like shifting, right? It like shifts these things. But
Have you
I,
been
I
to
think
Oakland?
I haven't been to Oakland, but I know that in Providence,
In Providence.
things have turned. I mean, look at
I
you.
mean, if you go down there, Brown University,
There's a coffee shop on 18th Street now.
there is. Oh boy, Greg. Oh boy.
I know we're gonna watch out with the 18th Street. I don't want to get yikes. I don't need any of that. So look, hey, bear with us. This is our first episode back. We thought we'd do a subject that would kind of
Greg wanted to do some edge work.
yeah, I thought we'd try a little edge work and see what happened. Edge work sounds oh boy. I feel like I'm getting sexed in.
Oh boy.
Literally. All right. Yeah, see, look, we need some work. Um, but we apologize for this first episode back. But look, you got to get your feet wet, as the
We
MST would
apologize
say.
for this episode. Please forgive us,
Yeah.
everyone. We apologize for what we just did.
Well, there's always going to be a bridge, and you got to take that first step. Hey, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one bad
I
episode.
don't even know what this guy's talking about at this
That's
point.
what I always say. And you know what? This might be just the episode that like the doctor ordered for somebody. You never know.
If they were thinking about getting into a gang, they
Or
might
if they were
second
thinking
guess, or
about,
they're definitely going to commit after listening to one of those two options is happening after this episode.
that's a good sort of thing that I've kind of maybe we've lost sight
Many
of
members.
like 3 weeks is like what the
Maybe
purpose.
we've lost 30% of members and listeners.
No, no,
Go
no.
ahead, Greg.
We're good. We're
What
good.
was the
We're reeling them back in. And guys, hang tight, all right? Because if you think this is bad, we're gonna get better. Um, we always have. If you listen to the first episode, you'll know it's you know baby steps. You fall, you get back up. That's all I'm gonna say. They can't all be jumps. But I had some fun, and it was nice to kind of like dip a toe back in, put the microphone back on, and just kind of like see where it goes. Um, Dave, we'll get into something next week, right?
Sure. Sounds good.
All right, buddy. All right, is there
Okay.
anything you want to say to the people?
No, I'm good, and I'm sorry.
All right.
Thanks, everybody. We will see you soon. Talk to you later.
All right.
Davey's bringing you home. Good night.